First gentleman, he is a man that you know is Mr. Tom Merritt. He's the host of the Daily Tech News Show and the author of Trigger. Tom, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
And also, he's going to be joined by the host of Coverville and the co-host of the Morning Stream and Super Marvel fan, Mr. Brian Ibott. Brian, welcome.
Hey, how you doing? What makes you think I'm a Marvel fan?
This is the first time. Wow, we all have very awesome backgrounds.
I think Tom's is a little more organized than mine. Actually, yours is a lot more organized than mine too. Mine,
yeah,
it's only because I zoomed in more than you. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, it's mayhem back there.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this awesome day. Joining me and Ashley. Now, I've been big fans. I don't know what phantoms are, but I've been big fans.
They're like ghosts, yeah.
Yes, I've been a phantom of you both. Now, I've been a big fan of both of you for a long time. But let's start with Brian. Brian, in case anybody doesn't know who you are, please tell them all the love and the amazingness of the Coverville podcast.
All right. So the Coverville podcast is dedicated to bringing you covers of songs you know by independent artists, musicians that you're probably not familiar with. Some of those underground artists, some of those off the beaten path musicians that love these songs as much as you do and want to put their own spin on it, their own take on it. No sound-alikes on my show. Just true homages to the original. And every episode, just about every episode, is themed around one or two people, one or two musicians or bands who are having birthdays or album anniversaries or things like that. Just did Neil Young, Divine Comedy a couple weeks ago, and really having a blast with the show, which is in its 17th year or whatever.
Also, I want to shout this out for Brian, unless he's changed his pattern.
Yeah.
But for the last several years, and this is coming up very soon, Thanksgiving week,
Oh.
Brian always puts out my favorite episode of the Coverville podcast because I'm a big Beatles fan, as you can tell from my War is Over John Lennon shirt.
Oh, very cool. Does the back say if you want it?
It's in very tiny print at the bottom.
Perfect. Excellent.
But Brian always does amazing covers of the Beatles for Thanksgiving. Are we going to get another version of that this year?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a tradition I'll never let go of. So the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the big Beatles show. It's usually a longer show than normal, which usually they run about an hour and a half. The Beatles show will go about 2 hours, and it's limited interruptions, so it's perfect for having in the car as you drive over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house, or as you prepare for Zooming with grandma.
Or going to Penny Lane.
Yeah. Going to Penny Lane, exactly. Yes, wherever you're going to be, however you're going to be virtually celebrating Thanksgiving this year, you'll have a Beatles show to listen to.
Fun fact, Brian is the reason that I know what chiptunes are.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Now,
Cool.
Mr. Tom Merritt, in case anybody out there doesn't know about your amazing books, and of course doesn't text you for advice on Apple Watches like some might, could you please describe a little bit about your podcast, your books? Definitely talk about your amazing books.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So mostly what I do is the Daily Tech News Show, Monday through Friday. We take a half hour. We break down all the tech news of the day that you need to understand technology around you. And I've been doing something like it since 2005, both at CNET and Twit and now on my own. And I just love doing it. I also do podcasts around TV and movies called Cord Killers, Current Geek Chronicles. I do a science fiction and fantasy book club called Sword and Laser. And like you said, I like to dabble in writing books. And I've got a science fiction series that's out right now, book 2, but it's a time travel series. So you can read it in whatever order you want because time travel gives you that permission.
Did I say the title right?
Trigger. Yeah.
Okay.
The latest release is Trigger.
I didn't know if you sometimes science fiction authors, they'll be like, that's not how you say it. And you're like, it looks like Trigger.
Yeah. There's actually a bit in the book where the main character, Pilot X, which is the name of the first book that I put out, says it wrong and gets corrected by a character. So it's even built in for you to understand.
Pilot X is an excellent novel. If you haven't checked it out, everybody go over to Amazon right now. It made me very happy when I read it on the London Tube. Last time we were in London, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen for 5 years. That's something that could make us sad, but I don't want to talk about that stuff. I want to talk about stuff that makes us happy. This is about 2020, everybody out there, the reason why we're doing this charity drive is to bring joy to service members through care packages. So hit that donate button, do it on YouTube, come on over here. So I brought these gentlemen over here. Yeah, click that donate, click that live chat donation. Look at that screen. Look at that amazing red camo graphic that we found. Isn't it cool? Christian did a great job.
Yeah, good stuff, Christian.
Christian, come on in here. Come in here real quick, Christian. Gonna give you a brief, some brief applause. For Christian. Yeah? All right. Now go away, Christian. Get out of here. All right. But we're going to talk about stuff that brings us joy, things that have made us happy in 2020. So, Brian, I'd love to start with you. Is there a movie or a television show that you've been watching a lot? Maybe an old one you've discovered, but what's a movie or a television show that's brought you joy this year?
Probably the most recent thing that's done that for me is a show called The Queen's Gambit. I know everybody's talking about it right now. I'm going to join the throng of people that are loving that show, but decided to start watching that on a whim just because we like Anya Taylor-Joy and all the stuff she does.
You mean Magic from New Mutants?
Magic, yes. Well, gotta say, that's another thing that brought me joy this year was sneaking into the movie theater once with 5 other people in the whole theater and watching New Mutants and seeing the amazing casting that they have for that. But
Did you rent out the theater?
No, it just we just
happened to be
just happened to be 5 people in the theater, and we happened to be 2 of them. But no, she's fantastic. She plays a chess prodigy named Beth, an orphan who grows up mastering the game, gets it taught to her by the janitor at the orphanage, and just becomes this amazing chess prodigy. And chess players are analyzing their games and saying, yeah, that's legitimate chess play right there. But the storyline is fantastic. Lots of great actors and actresses in this thing. Dursley, what's his name? The kid that played the young Dursley.
I'm gonna look him up because he's done small parts in he's in His Dark Materials.
He's in the Old Guard.
Yes. He's amazing.
He is amazing.
I'm gonna find his name.
He's secretly become the best actor out of that cast. Which if you would have told me that 20 years ago, I'd have been like, "You're insane."
Yeah, no, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. And no, it's a great show. 7 episodes. You can binge it in an evening, an afternoon, and an evening, and absolutely worth it.
Shout out to Harry Melling. That is the
Harry
actor's
Melling,
name.
yes, right.
And I believe he is either the grandson or grandnephew of one of the OG doctors. Either
really?
1 or 2 or 3,
Okay.
yeah.
He looks a lot like the second Doctor, Patrick something.
Someone will tell us in the chat.
Yeah, please tell us in the chat. Tom, what are you watching that's bringing you joy?
Well, I'm really glad Brian didn't mention this one because this is the show that has brought me the most joy, I think, maybe ever. Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus.
I've heard a lot of good things about that show.
So good. It has no right to be. I experimented with it because I love Jason Sudeikis. I'm like, I'll watch Jason Sudeikis. Why not? I also thought it was incredibly brave to base an entire series off of funny promos for soccer on NBC, which is
that the origin of the series? I have no idea.
The character Ted Lasso was created as a joke promo to get Americans to watch soccer. So Ted Lasso, the character in the promos, was an American football coach, college football coach.
Bravo for them getting that show greenlit.
Who gets hired to coach soccer in the UK. That's the premise of the TV show too.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know that.
Shout out to Ken from Chicago who's saying that Harry Melling is related to Patrick Troughton.
Patrick Troughton, yes, the second Doctor. Ashley, what are you watching in this quarantine that's making you happy?
With or without you would be the categories.
Either or.
Without you, now that our CBS All Access is finally working, I have been rewatching because for some reason they own all of RuPaul's Drag Race. I've been rewatching all the old seasons of that. I know everything that's going to happen. It's my favorite show in the whole world. It's one of the only shows that I consume purely as entertainment. I'm not trying to work in reality. I'm not trying to work in drag. So it's like watching sport for me. It's my favorite. And then we watched what I thought was a movie, but I think it's only 45 minutes long. The Hulu original John Bronco, starring my Justified boyfriend, Walton Goggins. And it is amazing, incredible. We keep singing the theme song. Yep. We rewrite the theme song to sing about our cat. It's ridiculous. And it's about this man named John Bronco who got the Ford Bronco named after him.
Yeah, so it's the idea the Ford Bronco is named after this badass cowboy named John Bronco.
Really? Okay.
And then they just decided to hire him as the spokesman.
Yeah. If you want to see Walton Goggins in shorts that are shoe short, running around ranches in California, highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
I mean, the opening of the teaser is just Walton Goggins being like, meat and potatoes may feed my body, but only a Bronco feeds my soul. As soon as I saw that teaser, I was like, I'm in.
And when's Walton Goggins going to show up on The Mandalorian?
Yeah, right. We need another Justified reunion. Yeah.
I know, man.
But put him in everything. He's the best. I know he was on The Shield and he was working before Justified, but that's what I know him from. And I don't understand how everyone from Justified is not in everything all the time.
That's right. That's right.
Jason, what are you watching that is bringing you a lot of joy?
Well, I've said this in a lot of places. The biggest thing that's brought me joy of the entirety of 2020 is this British show that I just discovered called Grand Designs. And it is, you can find a couple seasons on Netflix. Apparently it's been around for 20 years, but it is literally about this very stuffy designer man named Kevin MacLeod who observes over several years, they take like 4 years and they edit it into one episode, people in Britain designing these insane, weird mansions.
It's like, do you want to watch British people with too much money break down as they build a house?
Yep.
We got that show.
Yeah, and every episode is either like they try to build one on a cliff and all the advisors are like, you can't build a house on a cliff, or they run out of money. And every episode, I love Kevin MacLeod, and if I ever get to meet this man, I will thank him for saving my 2020 because he every episode, he gives them so much shade for the beginning 45 minutes of the episode. He's like, it's never going to work. And then as soon as he sees the house, he's always like, it's brilliant. They pulled it off. And you're just like, which side are you on, Kevin?
Man, it's like House Hunters on steroids, right? Like,
it
that's
is.
crazy.
Truly. And it's funny because every English person or everyone that we know from the UK, the minute we started tweeting that we were watching Grand Designs was like, oh yeah, it's a treasure. We love it. It's so good. I was like, I've never heard of it before this year.
I feel like the show Grand Designs for British people is like the minute they hear another American knows about this show, it feels like we've discovered the nuclear secrets or something. They're like, oh my god.
It would probably be like if a non-American discovered Cheers for the first time, we would all be like, yes, of course, it's been iconic for decades.
It kind of feels like it almost might be like their Big Brother or their Survivor or like it's like of that much fame. So, you know, and weird again, it's been around for 20 years. Never heard of the show until this year.
Yeah, me neither. Wow.
Well, Channel 4, what are you gonna do?
It's all on. A couple seasons are on Netflix, so go enjoy that. Brian, because you have a giant Captain America shield. Is that a actual metal Captain America shield?
That is the metal Captain America shield that I swooped in when Toys R Us was having their going out of business sale. Swooped in and picked one of those up for
I was thinking you were going to say you swooped in the movie when he tossed it.
Right, yes. That was there during Endgame. You don't see me because it's so fast. It stops at me and then continues on to...
Sorry.
Have you ever thrown it?
I've never thrown it, no.
I just want a video of you on your lawn just like...
Podcaster Brian Ibott found murdered somebody with a Captain America shield.
Exactly.
Do it now. It's a good cause, Brian.
Swing it around. By the way... We should remind everybody to click that donate button up and around this video right now. Right now, I will tell you, we have a piece of original art by Titans artist Brett Booth. He's also drawing the X-Men. You can win that. The highest donor in the United States will win that. Right now, the high bid is $100. So you can easily scoop up and get that Spider-Man Backlash original piece of art.
Gorgeous piece of art. Yes.
I'll tell you what, if we get to a high bid is $300, I'm going to ask Brian to throw that shield during the spin.
Now, I don't know if you know, but this is a pretty cramped quarters.
Brian,
and a lot of valuables on the wall. Yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Also, maybe a cat hiding somewhere.
That's right. I could throw it into this chair, and then it'll soften the blow.
Christian, pop in here real quick. Our engineer Christian, real quick.
Yes.
Christian, what have you been watching that's been bringing you joy?
Oh man, I love the Chef Show on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Jon Favreau. It was like I think they had the way they like section it off is kind of weird. I guess it's only 2 seasons, but they do it in like 5 episodes each, and
that's the one they filmed like almost. It feels like they filmed it during Endgame because like all the Avengers are in it.
Yeah, they dropped one I think like last month or 2 months ago, and it was just like 5 episodes. And especially like during quarantine, cooking has been a thing that I've been trying to do a lot more, and seeing all that, and I'm like, yeah, that's inspiring. I want to do that. And then on Hulu, Dave. I love Dave. It's the rapper Lil. I don't even know if I can say it on.
It's an FX show.
It's an FX show.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's really, really good. I'm not much into rap that much, but it's a comedy, and I think it's really, really well written. It's funny. Good stuff.
I mean, I don't know if this panel is necessarily going to be the experts on rap. It's just, I mean, maybe Brian.
Yeah.
Maybe Brian. Just as a guess.
Well, thank you for that, Christian. Now go away. Go back. Go away.
No, that chef show is amazing. Inspired me to make a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches over the course of 2020.
The perfect.
Yeah.
Brian, we have a question specifically for you from the chat. Joel the Geek says, "What arcade game is that behind Brian?"
Yes, that's a Tempest machine. Growing up, that was the arcade game I was addicted to, and I learned the secret of how you get up to a certain level and you end your game, and then you start your next game at that level. And if you get your ending score to end with a certain digit, then it automatically pops up 40 credits on the machine. So I'd get dropped off in the morning at the old Chicago pizzeria that had a Tempest machine with $1, and I'd be there all day long and leave there at 5 o'clock and finally go home starving. But
oh wow!
But played the entire day on that. But not on this specific
credits for
machine.
pizza, huh?
They wouldn't. No, it'd be great if I could say I'll take 20 credits off of this thing for.
That's so interesting. That is a thing that like does not exist now in 2020. This idea of like you can only play this video game in this place at this physical location.
Right. Yes.
For us, for me, it was like my sister and I would always play. They had, do you know the game Hydro Thunder? It's like a boat game.
Oh yeah.
And it has a steering wheel and then like a thing that you pull back for the gas. And me and my little sister, it was by the Walmart that was closest to our house in the middle of nowhere. And like, it was there for like years, but that was our game. We were like, oh, we go to Walmart, gonna play Hydro Thunder.
Awesome. So my dad was in the Canadian military, so we had in America, I think it's a PX, right?
Yeah.
And in Canada, the sort of general store is a CanX because of Canada. So they had a Monster Mash, the same one, someone that you know has a pinball game.
You can say like, look. Cool. I will say that.
I don't know if it was.
No, it's fine. My current showrunner on the show that I'm working on is a pinball collector, and he brought into our office 2 pinball machines. We have Monster Bash, and then the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like you can always tell when somebody is like on script and just doesn't know what to write for the next scene because you'll hear the pinball machine going.
That was what they used to. That's what we used to play all the time, was that Monster Bash game.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's funny that we used to go to Walmart the entryways or the Jansen's laundromat in my case is where I used to play Spy Hunter with my sister. Like arcades were kind of thin on the ground where I was growing up. You had to go to pizza places. You had to go places like that.
I know, and now Tom lives quite close to where Jason and I live, and there's all these empty warehouses that no one can go to anymore that are filled with arcade games that normally you can play, put down $20 and play for an hour.
You can. There's now a company, and I've read this, where you can rent those arcade games where literally like they'll just like treat your home as the store, and they'll just be like, okay, you want it for X-Men for this year? Okay, fine. This is the charge.
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Those are real things.
Well, and then you can also get like miniature arcade games.
Stop showing off, Brian. Put that in.
No, this one's great. This one just came in.
So sad. I'm just stuck here with my racing Mattel game.
You win, Tom.
On the topic of video games, has anyone played Miles Morales yet?
No, not yet.
I've heard great things though.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. The demo. I'm still working on the Avengers PS4 game, but which is also fantastic. But I'm thinking I'm gonna wait until I land a PS5 and then pick Miles Morales with it.
That was my thought as well, because I'm not planning on buying the PS5 anytime soon, because for me there's only one game on there so far.
Right.
But I looked online, or I looked in the PlayStation Store, and they have this thing right now that if you buy the PS4 version of Miles Morales, it automatically gives you the PS5 version.
Okay.
That is my Thanksgiving gift to myself that I'm going to enjoy over Thanksgiving weekend is Miles Morales.
There you go.
One cool thing I noticed, because that was the thing that brought me joy, and I love to move this into video games. I replayed the Spider-Man PS4 game, and I played it last year, loved it. But this time, I said to myself, I'm going to go through this and get 100%. I've never done that on a video game before.
Completion, every task,
And it was such a blast. It's such a fun game. And
how many lights were just on a cat that sent you on a quest?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, because it's like a video game joke, right? That the cat sits in the pool of light and is like, I have a side quest for
you. Okay. There is a cat side mission in Miles. No, usually it's a person. Usually in Spider-Man, it's a person that's like, hey, Spider-Man, and then a thing pops up on your little circle.
On your Apple Watch.
Yeah, or in your little Apple Watch or whatever. But so I did that. It was so much fun. And one thing I noticed, I watched one of the reviews for Miles Morales, and Peter. This shows the excellent design of the creators. Peter in that game jumps forward, like he leaps forward. Miles, they designed it to where his character, if you jump off a building, he always does it backwards and heads first.
Oh, like really? So like in Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And I was like, that is such a neat, small, tiny design touch to make these two characters feel very different. Tom, what video games have been bringing you some 2020 joy?
Oh man, I've been taking a little vacation to that town in Animal Crossing New Horizons quite a bit. Just grab a Switch, sit on the couch, pick some fruit, talk to some folks. It's very relaxing. I highly recommend it.
Real quick, we have a common friend in the chat right now who has a great comment. Mr. Steven Sliker, the winner of the last hour's donation here, said, I miss those red plastic glasses at pizza restaurants, Pizza Coke, and video games were the early 80s for me. Now, Steven, I'm also a fellow Kansas boy, and from the place that I grew up in the middle of nowhere, even though I grew up in the 90s, that was the 90s to me, too, as well. No pizza place in the 90s updated.
Right, yeah, they all had those same plastic red cups.
Pepsi tasted different out of those cups. Somehow.
Yes.
It tasted better, yeah.
Yes, it did. Brian, what are you playing? What's bringing you some joy?
Besides Avengers.
Besides Avengers,
yeah.
And sadly, besides Animal Crossing, which I'm also kind of hooked on, I'm still trying to get that elusive blue rose. I repicked up BioShock on the Switch, and
beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game, and it's the full collection. It's all 3 games, the remastered version of BioShock Infinite, which I never finished, much to the belittlement of my co-host Scott Johnson. He teased me mercilessly about not finishing what had to be the greatest story video game of that year, and so I'm finally going to go through and finish it, but had to restart it.
Yeah, I should point out too, this is also the year that I finally was able to complete Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, there you go.
Very early in the pandemic, I was like, all right, I got the time now.
2020 is all about completion, isn't it? Like all about.
I remember you being very sad when your horse died.
I was. They killed my horse, and I was like, no. Slight spoilers for that game. Real quick.
Ooh, your horse dies in a cowboy game. Spoilers.
Right.
Well, actually, it can die as many times as you want. It just depends on how. Like I specifically picked one horse, named it after our cat Brago.
Who's named after a horse.
He's named after a horse.
Okay.
And so it's a horse upon a cat upon a horse.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very good.
Yeah. Real quick before we get to some more talk, we want to remind everybody out there to donate to Operation Gratitude. Click that donate button. You got to come over here to YouTube if you're watching this on Facebook and you're watching this on Twitter. Operation Gratitude sends 300,000 care packages to service members around the world. Click that donate button. Click that live chat donation button. Please do this. Right now, we are just halfway over our whole goal for the day, which is great. And we have an amazing piece of original art by artist Brett Booth from the Titans, from Teen Titans, from X-Men. He's on the new X-Men title. He has a Spider-Man, and it is not even just a normal Spider-Man. It is Spider-Man Ben Reilly Spider-Man, my preferred Spider-Man costume, in this piece of art. And guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, the high donation right now is $100. Now, a piece of original art like this would normally run...
cover, no less.
This is a cover art. This is a cover that Brett graciously donated. Usually goes around for $200 at a. So help get us to the goal. Get that piece of original art. And make sure you click that over here on YouTube if you're watching anywhere else.
Very cool. So that's your preferred of all the Spider-Man costumes. That's your preferred one.
I love the original Steve Ditko original. I think it's really good. But that update's by actually Brett Booth. Brett Booth is the one who did that update. Who kind of got rid of the sleeves. I love the web shooters being on the outside. I love
the legs of the spider kind of wrapping all around. Yes,
which the MCU basically just now put on. That was when I saw the Iron Armor from the movies. My first thought was, I was like, oh, that's the closest we'll ever get to Ben Reilly's Spider-Man costume on screen.
Until I'm going to speak this into the universe. Also, hi Sony, if you're listening, would love to voice this character. Until Mayday Parker gets brought into a Spider-Verse movie, because she classically wears Ben's suit.
That's right.
It looks so much better on a lady. All superhero costumes look better on ladies. That's my hot take on superhero costumes.
Our excellent engineer Christian, please pop into the chat or into the stream real quick right here.
Making him do so much work this panel.
Well, he's been sitting around for 2 hours now. He's been doing a lot of work and he's doing a killer job. Christian, are you playing any video games? Any joy?
This year, I know it's probably very polarizing still for a lot of people, but The Last of Us Part 2, fantastic. I loved it. Really great game. I recently re-picked up Alien Isolation. I'm a big horror guy. I never finished it because when it first came out, I thought it was legit the hardest game I've ever played in my entire life. And it is. It truly is. And I finally ended up finishing that one. And just replaying a bunch of Resident Evil because I'm a big Resident Evil fan. So I'm looking forward to the new one coming out next year. Yeah.
Thank you for that answer, Christian.
He's waiting for you to dismiss him again.
You know what to do. You know what to do.
Okay.
We just witnessed training in action.
All right. So I would love to everybody to talk about now books. Things with words. Things with words, or even comic books. Have there been any, Tom, besides your own work, which should bring a lot of people joy, and
that's all I read.
And Trigger should be in everybody's stocking.
Yeah, truly.
This Christmas. What have you been reading that's been interesting, brought you some joy? What have you been reading in the pandemic?
We just read and watched for Sword and Laser Howl's Moving Castle. Which nice. I had only seen the anime. I had not read the book. The book is divine. It's fantastic. And a perfect antidote to some of the things going on this year. It's just, it's fun. It's interesting. And it's one of those situations where if you like the movie, it's just going to give you more of what you like.
I love that movie.
It's different, but it's really, really good.
Nice. Brian, how about yourself?
Yeah, today I learned there's a Howl's Moving Castle book.
Diane Wynne Jones, I believe, wrote that.
Yeah. She wrote it in the 80s, long before the movie was made.
Interesting. Last thing that I read was about a month or 2 months ago, the House of X Powers of 10 crossover. Picked that up in hardback, found a comic store that's still open during all this, and want to absolutely support them, so picked it up there, and it's great. Devoured that thing. I'm a big every generation of X-Men gets represented in there, and so I'm a big fan of the whole John Byrne, Dave Cockrum era, Chris Claremont era of X-Men, and so getting to revisit some of that. Days of Future Past is represented in there. Really, really enjoyed that.
Do you know the name of the comic book shop that you picked it up from?
Yes, it is Colorado Comic and Coin Bar on Wadsworth Boulevard.
There, we'd love to shout out our
They're great. They are
LCSs.
Great. I bought probably about a third of everything.
Brian Ibbott's keeping them alive. I
That's
love it.
Right, exactly. They've named a wing after me. Yes,
the X-Men wing, of course.
That's right, of course.
Brian Ibott Corner, the Foundation Library.
Exactly.
Ashley, what have you been reading during the pandemic that's been making you happy?
I did read. I'm not good at spatial awareness. I did read House of X, Powers of X, and X-Men, in which Brett Booth, whose art we're auctioning off of, is now one of the artists on one of the series. I have enjoyed that a lot. I am almost finished with Rich People Problems, which is the third installment in the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy. And I know it sounds frivolous, but that book has brought me so much joy. And as someone who's never visited Asia yet, I learn a lot when I read those books, which is not what I necessarily expected going into Crazy Rich Asians. There's been 2 dead people in the franchise so far, so the book is wild. But I've been reading a lot of socially minded books this year, and it has been a welcome salve to the horrors that are 2020. So shout out to Kevin Kwan for that series. Jason, what have you been reading?
Well, I know something that everybody should read. Selfish plug. Eduardo Fuente, sorry. Super Soldier is a great book. People should pick it up. Yes, it is. And Mr. Tom Merritt is quoted in that book as well.
Yeah, I have it behind me here, but I'm bad with spatial awareness. But yeah, no, thank you for quoting me. That is an excellent book.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for giving that quote on there. You know, something that I've been reading, I don't know if you guys have heard of this book called The Overstory by, I have his name over here, Richard Powers. It won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction last year, and it's
about trees.
It's about trees. It's a 1,000-page book, and it is about like generations of different people and all these different stories. And at first, you don't think they're going to connect, and then they absolutely do. And it's how like trees interact with their lives, or how the trees view these families, and it is seriously one of the best books I have read in a long time. I'm still not even done with it. I kind of read a couple chapters every night, and then I put it down, and then because it's so complex, like a tree, and I think that's intentional. That it's really great.
If you don't need a doorstop, it's a great digital purchase.
Yes, it is a great digital purchase. Yeah. But in terms of comic books, I just recently reread Miracle Man by Alan Moore.
That's uplifting.
And Neil Gaiman. It's not uplifting,
No,
but
it's not.
But for me, it was a lot of joy because I haven't read it in a long time, and specifically this time I was reading it to be like, I wanted to figure out how does Alan Moore's brain work when it comes to Superman. Like, how does he view Superman, and why does he make Miracle Man do all these things? And it's really fascinating. But no, him and his cronies, or him and Kid Miracle Man, destroy the world. So it's not really that uplifting, but I thought the writing was excellent. I also want to shout out, this is a great book, and Brian will enjoy this one as well. Supersonic Hero 10 says, Spider-Man Life Story by Chip Zdarsky. It is one of the best Spider-Man stories I've read in a long time.
Really? Okay.
It's really good. Yeah, it's the conceit of it is that they start Spider-Man in the year he debuted, which I think is 63. And then every subsequent issue, it's 6 issues, jumps ahead 10 years. So you see cool. Spider and Peter Parker ages in real time.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty amazing. It's amazing
cool.
to see like Peter Parker as a 50-year-old deal with 9/11. Or Peter Parker as a 60-year-old have to deal with, like the current status. And then that's where they introduce Miles. And it's such a nice twist. And Mark Bagley is the one who draws it.
I have to say, I love a middle-aged Peter Parker. I would like Peter Parker to never be younger than 40. Peter B. Parker is my preferred Peter Parker.
Peter B. Parker, absolutely.
Yep.
Mismatched shoes and all. Yes.
They just dropped the Marvel Legends action figure for that. And I'm like, give it to me right now.
I know. I was looking at the box set of all of them to get Miles and Spider-Gwen and
the Stilt-Man.
Yes. And the more hand.
Why didn't they make it the Kingpin? Why didn't they make the huge Bill Sienkiewicz Kingpin?
Oh, right. That would have been great. Yeah.
Like it should be like 10 feet tall.
Agreed. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can source you some pieces of Stilt-Man.
There you go. Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. I love, and Marvel Legends has been a big thing. Like, has brought me. Speaking of like maybe we should go turn that into there. What have you been collecting this year that's brought me a lot of joy? I'll show you one. I'll have to reach off camera here real quick. But yeah, your Marvel Legends has been killing it so much, and they've been killing it so much that they've been destroying my wallet. But they released this War Machine action figure for the original Rhodey armor with all the. I mean, look at this firing bullets and everything like that. It's the rockets like
cool.
It is so cool.
You can practically see him spiraling around. I heard you talking earlier about how Rhodey was your Iron Man before you knew before you knew about Tony Stark. It's like, who's this guy? But
I've been saying, and I will throw it out there because I know Disney's watching this stream, but. I've been saying, to me, the biggest misstep of the MCU is I can't believe we haven't had a War Machine trilogy, or at least a War Machine movie starring Don Cheadle. And I thought after Civil War, that's when they were going to do it, because I was like, when he got injured, I was like, this is brilliant. We're going to have a War Machine movie where we have a disabled vet.
Wounded warrior.
A wounded warrior as the hero. And I was like, this is genius. And then when they didn't do that, I was like, what is wrong with you guys?
Also, don't waste Don Cheadle as a casting choice. Like, he's really real. I know some people like the OG, but I like Don Cheadle.
I was like, man, you guys lost the ball on this amazing piece of representation for disabled people as a superhero.
Yeah.
Right.
That would have been an interesting road for them to go on for sure.
You know.
Well, we'll just say there's still time. Knock on wood.
Well, hopefully I'll be writing that movie in 2025.
Yes.
Yeah, Cheadle has expressed no interest in leaving the MCU, so that could still definitely happen.
I think you would take that.
All right,
but
if we're talking Marvel Legends, then
Heck
this is the one that I'm super excited about. This is the Jeff Goldblum Grandmaster.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. Look, your hammer, very sparkly. I like how you do it. Had to pick this up. It was a 2-pack, and I'm trying to remember. Oh, it came with Taika Waititi's character from Korg, from Korg? Korg. Yes.
Yeah, it's Korg.
I keep thinking, no, that's the synthesizer, but that's right. It can be both. He's a little bit too short to play Dragon's Lair. That's too bad. But it's such a great action figure. And I mean, here's a guy who's had his Jurassic Park action figure created for him. And I'm trying to think if there was it was probably an Independence Day
10-speed and brown shoe.
Was there a 10-speed and brown shoe?
Probably.
I mean, I have an action
Into the Night. Did they make Into the Night action
There's
figures?
probably an action figure for The Fly, I would guess, as
There's
well.
also
I think there is.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Just the Jeff
Brundlefly.
Yeah.
But this has got to be the best Jeff Goldblum incarnation ever.
Joel the Geek shouting out Brian's Jeff Goldblum impression. If people are not familiar, Brian has a slew of excellent impressions. So
yeah, you'll have to tune in for to TMS for those.
Yeah.
That was a freebie, or donate more. I'd rather do impressions than throw my shield.
All right, let's hear it right now. If we get $110 donation right now, not only will you be supporting Operation Gratitude and the service members here, guys, click donate on YouTube, live chat donation. If you donate $120 or more, not only will you get a Brian Ibott impression, but you'll get a chance to win this Brett Booth piece of art, guys. It's only going to be available during this hour. The current high bid is $100, so you can get this for a steal. We are over the halfway goal. We want to get there. Donate. If you're enjoying this entertainment and you don't have the funds to donate, that's fine. Please share the link out. Share the link out to everybody. That's just as helpful. $110. We get to hear Brian Ibott.
Do they get to choose who I do an impression of? Or?
I think so.
I was going to pitch for Vince Gilligan because that's one of my personal favorites that you do.
Brian, throw out 3 that you wouldn't mind doing, and we'll leave it up to them. We get a $110 donation.
Let's see. Well, I'm staying away from politics for a little while, so that doesn't bring me joy. Marty McFly and Doc Brown. Nobody knows Ken Kratz anymore, but the guy from Making a Murder. Do you?
I do. You talked about him like maybe a couple weeks ago. I'd say I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I know. We're way overdue for another season of that show.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we got it!
$150.
I'll tell you what. I'm so happy about that and that donation. That you know what that also that unlocks. That unlocks Christian's on camera for the rest of the panel. Come in here, buddy.
We didn't agree to this. Oh my God. What?
Yep, you can't hide in your underwear anymore. We got to see you online.
Put down the macrame. It's time to come back on camera.
Brad McAlpin, thank you so much. You're now the current high donor, 150. Brad, you got to tell us in the comments what you want Brian Ibott to talk about, and I will throw in Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, or Sean Connery can talk to this whatever character exists.
Yeah. With Shaggy, you also get Robin, you also get Casey Kasem, you get so many.
And then everyone does Scooby-Doo because that's easy.
Yes, it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That one doesn't count.
While Brad's making up his mind, Jason and I have been collecting. Is it Super 7? Makes these
it is Super
amazing.
7. Yeah.
It's white, so he's hard to see. Peanuts figures.
Here,
I'm really good at showing.
Put it in front of this thing.
There we go.
There you go.
And one of them
cool.
is World War II Flying Ace. He was a new acquisition for this year, but they make these incredible Peanuts figures, and they come in these really nice packaging. And I'm a big believer of taking toys out of the packages, but we leave them and we buy yet another package to preserve the casing. And they actually have a physical store in San Diego. Not that anyone's going to stores right now, but they have a real location there, which is very
Brad
cool.
McAlpine says, "Gotta be Scooby-Doo then." LOL.
just want a Scooby-Doo. Well, that's kind of
okay. All right, Mr. Brian, you've been put on the spot.
I'll lead into it with a little bit of Shaggy. Zoinks! You gotta get that Scooby snack. There you go.
Well done. Well done. Well done.
It was like we were there in the room with Scooby and Shaggy.
The room where it happened.
Yes!
We're in the Zoom where it happened.
We are.
I would say we would be remiss if we didn't ask Tom what he was collecting as well.
Oh, we will. Joel the Geek says, "Do Doctor Strange, Jason, Dark Magic." Now, this is a joke I want to throw out that only listeners of our podcast will understand.
It's the glasses.
So before Doctor Strange actually came out, we figured that they would just turn him British. We were like, oh, Benedict will just do a British accent. And so basically I was like, I just started doing it on the podcast and basically made him Dr. Orpheus. And it turned into this thing where now Doctor Strange will call into our podcast every once in a while and just scream about dark magic. So because Joel the Geek asked for it, I will do it. So he just... Doctor Strange and the dark magic! That's all it is. I hope you're happy. The three of you out there.
That Benedict Cumberbatch didn't do that in the movie
Really?
now.
I
Instead
know.
of this whole Dormammu, I've come to negotiate. And,
Yes, that's what I thought. I thought he would just be talking the entire movie like this.
Absolutely.
Tom, we should ask you, what are you collecting? Any new toys in 2020?
You know, I tend to turn to hats when I collect. I collect a lot of hats. So two of my faves that I have gotten are the Clan Fett insignia.
Ooh, I love
That's
that.
Which when I got it, it felt a little out of fashion. But now that, you know, we seems like maybe the Fetts may be coming back into play. I won't say any more than that. Might be good. And I'm a big fan of the Flash, so I got myself a nice fancy Flash with a little flash under the lid.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh,
Nice.
That is cool.
Yeah. It's probably
So he's
one of my
always
favorite
watching
hats.
you when you're wearing that hat.
Yeah, when you wear it, he's like looking at you,
He's
encouraging you to go faster and faster.
I'm Barry Allen, and I'm the creepiest hat alive.
Maybe I could go into the Speed Force and fix things again.
I'm the
Barry Allen,
shadiest
I'm addicted.
Bill in the sun.
There are a million of them, but there are so many memes where, and it all originated from this one meme in like season 2 of The Flash, the first time he time traveled and screwed stuff up. And it's just this image of Grant Gustin as the Flash from the show, and it just keeps zooming in, and he's like, "That's a nice timeline. Be a shame if anybody changed it."
I used to write Flash columns for DC Comics, their official website, and one of them was called "My Name is Barry Allen, and I'm addicted to changing the timeline," and I can't believe they let me get away with it.
That's great.
Christian,
Yes.
any new toys? Are you collecting anything in the year of 2020?
Oh man, no, I haven't been. I used to do a lot of Blu-rays, but the last Blu-ray I picked up was like The Invisible Man because like nothing came out this year.
Yeah, best picture of 2020, The Invisible Man.
Nice.
With New Mutants as their competition.
Yeah, right.
when like conventions were a thing, and people could gather in large places, I used to go and try to collect. I'm a big Power Rangers fan. I used to try to just buy the old Zords. So I have like the original one. I have like the White Ranger, and then I think from the first movie, the Power Rangers movie, I had the Zords from that movie, and that's kind of where I stopped. I was going for the Green Ranger Dragon Zord, and I was always like, I'm gonna get it one day. I'm gonna get it, and then I just kind of like I stopped. I'd have nowhere to store these things, but yeah.
Well, if anyone has one, send it to Christian.
I mean, make it.
Yeah, please help him out. This is actually a charity drive for Christian and his toy collection.
Well, let me pull up that graphic real quick. Hold on. The Dragon Zord graphic. I made one just in case.
As a great final question for Tom and Brian joining us here, guys, don't forget, this is going to be one of your final chances to donate come over to YouTube, donate, do a live chat donation, get that piece of Brett Booth art. Right now, the high bid is $150. Brad Pine, I'm not certain, is now going to win that. But he also asked a great final question for Brian and Tom a long time ago, but I put it up here. What upcoming projects that they can talk about are Tom and Brian most excited about? Tom, let's start with you. What do you got coming up in the pipeline that you're really excited about?
I mean, right now, most of the stuff in the pipeline for us is preparing for like special holiday episodes. But the thing I'm most excited about right now, writing wise, is National Novel Writing Month. So I'm doing a novel. I'm halfway through. I do it every year, and I'm just saying, the more you do it, the harder it gets every year to do. I'm like, this year has been hard from the beginning, but it's so rewarding because it makes me do it. Like the fact that they're there kind of encouraging you and helping you along the way, even when it's difficult, like it is this year, I think for everybody to get motivated to do stuff, it's helping me do it. And to also help motivate me, I am sharing the Google Doc I'm composing in on my Patreon for writing.
You are a brave man.
So people like pop in while I'm composing, and I warn people like typos galore. You're gonna see so many typos. Don't even mention it. But that's been fun. That's been really great.
Nice, Brian. Any upcoming projects you can talk about?
Yeah, we are in the process of figuring out the plan for America's Next Top Podcaster Season 3. You guys were nice enough to be special guests and judges in Season 2.
It was so fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Such a blast time. You guys were hired as the worst interview subjects ever, and you guys had to put on this role of being distracted and have a cat. Something happened to the cat halfway through.
I think I cursed like 3 or 4 times.
I think we also talked smack about Brian.
Yeah.
Fun. Oh my gosh!
And of course, Tom is a coach and judge, and we're getting ready to do our 3rd season of that. We're in the process of figuring out what each of the challenges are, but we're also figuring out what our limits going to be. Previously, we've said under 2 years of podcast experience. For the 3rd season, we're going to make that a lot bigger so that we can actually have maybe a team of pros against a team of amateurs and see if all the bad habits that the pros have learned over the years might sink their their team or their inability to work together. I mean, there's so many great things that could go wrong in reality podcasting like that. So nice. Keep an eye out for that. America's Next Top Podcaster is the website if you want to hear the first 2 seasons. And it's just been such a fun show to do.
Well, Brian, Tom, this was fun. Thank you so much for coming. We are now currently at the time of my refresh. $2,921 of the $5,000 goal. We are more than halfway.
$89. So
yeah, someone quick, give us $89. So
I like round numbers.
Tom, real quick, tell them where they can find you online and find your podcast if they are interested in your hat collection and your books.
You can see me wear my hats on Daily Tech News Show, dailytechnewsshow.com. If you're into sci-fi and fantasy, swordandlaser.com, and everything that I do is at tommerritt.com.
Nice. And Brian, how about yourself? Tell them about the morning stream. Pimp that Beatles episode coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can watch shows that I do and wish that I would wear a hat to cut down on the glare. Frogpants.com/TMS is the morning stream. Daily morning comedy podcast, comedy and news podcast that Scott and I do. Tom is a guest on Wednesdays to talk about tech. We also talk about movies. We talk about comic books with Steven Schleicher, who won last hour.
Previous high bidder of the previous
high bidder and great all-around great guy. Jury comes on, talks about politics on Tuesdays. We have a therapist comes in on Thursdays, helps people with their problems. It's a great variety show, and so fortunate to be able to do that. Frogpants.com/TMS, and then of course Coverville is your cover song podcast website. If you're looking for other things, soundography.com is a show that I do with Hammond Chamberlain, all about an artist. We listen to the entire catalog of one musician in a week, from every album, every song, and then talk about the history of that musician and pull out some of the gems that maybe don't show up on greatest hits. And
I just want to shout out very quickly.
Yeah.
That and this I know this gentleman. He's been my best friend for life so far. Mr. Jeremy Skinner is the one that put $89 and got us over the goal.
Very good, very good.
And then also Mr. Steven Sliker also donated $89
So now
to get us over the
messed
goal.
up number again. Now we need somebody to donate $111 to round it.
So thank you to Jeremy and Steven. Thank you to Tom and Brian. Thank you so much for joining us. Have an excellent rest of your day. And this was great, guys.
Tell your animals I say hi.
Yes. Will do. Everybody go listen to their podcast. All right, Brian and Tom, take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Okay.